well, there's resiliency in this story. You bounce back and you qualify for sectionals and you go to state. Or you don't qualify. You do sectionals and you qualify for state.
Yeah.
So talk about just the desire to finish it out with your team. And you talked earlier about a 4x4 decision.
Yeah. So for me, I didn't want to give it up. I was determined, and so I was in the knee immobilizer, no bend in the knee for I think 5 weeks, and I was non-weight bearing for 5 weeks, and then after 5 weeks I went into a playmaker brace, which is a brace I ended up getting to compete in, and so I was on crutches for a week with that, and I was doing PT 3 times a week, and I was doing everything I could in the weight room to kind of build strength back up in that knee and get to where I could even put myself in a position to even have a chance to compete, outdoors again and make a comeback. And I went in for a checkup. The sectional started on Thursday, and I went in Wednesday morning for a checkup with the doctor. And he was like, "Oh, are you having any pain?" I was like, "No." He goes, "Can you hop on one leg?" So I'm in the doctor's office looking like an absolute doofus, just hopping up and down.
Yeah.
I was like, "I don't have any pain," and I really didn't at the time.
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right." He's like, "You should be good to go." And so 9 weeks after the injury happened, I walked into sectionals the next day, and my name had been on the entries at every single meet. They just never took it off, and so everyone knew at this point that I was done. I wasn't going to compete.
You hadn't been there yet.
Yeah, and so I show up at sectionals, and I'm in street clothes. I kind of wanted to just show up and act like I was just there to be there, and I walked over to the competition. I checked in. I just remember seeing some people's eyes. They were like, "Wait, what?" They were like, "No, you can't do this." And I got out there in triple on Thursday, and I literally put on my bionic leg, this massive brace, and these sleeves I had to wear for compression and everything. And everything that could have gone wrong that day in the triple jump went wrong on Thursday. I didn't take a full approach jump because I didn't think I was ready, because I literally had one practice session to get ready for it. So I was just taking short approach jumps, and going into the finals, I had my first jump, and then I scratched the next two, and thank God my first jump was good enough to get me to finals. And I vividly remember just sitting there outside the pit in the grass waiting for final start, and I just took the knee brace off and just threw it. And I was like, I just can't do this anymore. I can't jump with a brace on, blah, blah, blah. Everything was going wrong. And I really let the outside factors kind of get the best of me that day. And looking back on it, I handled it pretty poorly. I would say, I acted out like I really shouldn't have. That's not the person I wanted to be on the track, especially as a role model for those younger athletes that were looking at me and watching me in the competition. But I bounced back. I ended up finishing second in the triple, which I really can't complain about at sectionals. But I remember coming back on Friday with a completely different mindset. I was like, okay, look, nothing's going to steal the joy of track from me. And I went out and I was able to win my first sectional championship in the long jump after trying for 3 times. I finally got the win. And then 4x4 was coming up that night. And we knew that we had the team. We were going to run our 318 guys minus me and run an alternate. Yeah. And we knew that we were going to be able to make the state meet, but we really wanted to be in the fast heat at state to give ourselves a legit chance to score points. And so my parents were like, "We're not going to run. It's not smart. Don't risk it. You've got too much going on the knee. Just not push it." And so finally I made the decision myself and didn't tell my parents,
love it.
I'm going to run. And my parents had already left the meet at this point. I walked over to my coach. I found him. I was like, "Coach, I'm running the 4x4. Yeah. And he was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "I'm sure." I said, I'm going to do whatever I can to help this team out right now. And so I walked out there, and I don't know how. I really just think that, God kind of helped me through this, and the fact that I split my fastest 4x4 split ever.
What was it?
I want to say I split, it's 51 low. I wasn't a great 400 runner, but to do that.
Not bad, all things
after being out for nine weeks. Yeah. Soon to find out, I competed on a broken leg at sectionals in state. And so to run that on a broken leg, and I remember just collapsing after I handed off. I was like, I'm going to lead off, and y'all are just going to have to make up the ground that I lose. I'm going to give everything I got to you guys. So I was able to go out there, and I just remember collapsing. And Coach Martin he actually grabbed a picture of me, it was like a live picture of me just collapsing into a chair. And I remember getting a text from him that night, and he was like, "What you did today is going to be what I remember you for. Not the jumping marks. It's the selflessness that you had to go out there and put everything on the line to help the team succeed." And that's really the kind of person I wanted to be for those younger guys to look up to. And I was like, look, I'm going to do whatever I can to help these guys. But yeah, I was able to get us into the fast heat at state, as well as qualifying both the jumps. And so state came along, and at this point, I took the mindset of, it's going to be cool to go out, and I'm going to go out and try to win a state championship in the jumps. But at the end of the day, I've got nothing left to prove. I already won the 2 indoor championships, and I was like, I'm just going to go out here and give everything I've got. And so The long jump, I didn't have the success I wanted to have, obviously, like kind of the story of my whole career in the long jump.
Right.
But I was able to get a bronze medal in the long jump, and triple jump was the same day, which I think was poorly designed. I literally had 30-minute turnaround between long and triple at the state meet, which is absolutely ridiculous at a state meet.
What the heck?
And so all of us are tired. We go out there for triple, and it was so cool. At triple, we had put Bryant actually in the triple jump at sectionals, and he qualified, made it to state. And so I think I ended up jumping like 44 mid, and Bryant had popped a 44 high jump to go second, and I got third. And I just remember after my final jump, just going up to him and hugging him, and it was kind of like the passing the torch moment. I was like, it's your team now. Like, I can't win everything anymore. Like, and he was a junior at the time, and I remember just us hugging for so long. And I was just telling him, I was like, it's your team now. Like, go take control. And so, able to finish state with two state medals on a broken leg, which looking back at it now is absolutely incredible. I can't believe I was able to do that.
Right.
And just first of all, just have the opportunity to go out and compete again. But it's not the result I wanted going into it, but after the fact, I can look back at it now. I guess that's pretty cool that happened. And the 4x4, it didn't work out. We missed the podium by a couple of seconds. We finished fourth in the 4x4, but it was just that whole sectional and state meet, my senior outdoor, was just so special.
Yeah, it's good for team camaraderie for sure.
Yeah.
High school's wrapped up. You're at Virginia Tech now.
Yeah.
So why first off, where else did you look, and then how did you land on Virginia Tech?
Okay, so for me, recruiting was really slow. I had, after junior year, when I kind of started setting some records on the school level and county level, I had a bunch of Division II, Division III schools kind of emailing me, calling me, setting phone calls, and I took a visit to Lynchburg College in Virginia, the Division III university. They've got a great coach. I really liked Lynchburg. But then after indoor state happened is when I saw big attention start to happen once I went US 25 with that 46 mark. And I remember sending out, it was either 66, 67, 68, something like that, emails to coaches, Division I coaches, just trying to get exposure, sending out videos, my marks, expressing interest in their program and their team. And I was blessed to receive, I think it was 18 Division I offers by the end of the whole situation. But for me, it kind of came down to what I was looking for when it came to Virginia Tech. I was really looking for a place that I felt like I could accomplish my goals, and obviously, that's to be successful on the track, but also I really wanted a school that offered me a good education, because at the end of the day, it's student athlete first. And so Virginia Tech, prestigious academics, the facilities, something else I was looking at. I want to have a good training facility, good program. And Virginia Tech kind of had the winning tradition, the dominance in the ACC that they have on the track, as well as the facilities, the coaching staff was just great, because the end goal for every track athlete is going to be to make that world stage, and this year actually being a World U20 year, that's kind of the goal right now, is to make that world team. But at the end of the day, I wanted to find myself with a coach that I felt like I could get to the 2028 Olympics with, and someone that could help me, make the trials and then potentially make that team. And Virginia Tech kind of fit that for me. I really looked at, I think, out of the Division I offers, I think the big four that I had kind of finalized down on was Virginia Tech, Ole Miss, UConn, and Kansas were probably the four that I narrowed it down to. There were some bigger than them, there were some smaller, but those are the four I felt like gave me the best opportunity. But really, it was an overwhelming situation, because most people, their recruiting process is over an entire year. Normally, they're committed by the end of their junior year, but for me, it was literally a 4-week span of so many emails coming in, offers, and coaches want me on visits. It was just, I remember stepping out of class one day and just walking into my counselor's office, like, I need a break. And so he sat down with me, and he was able to, look at some of the stuff with me, and so I was able to take that visit to Virginia Tech. I remember it was a Thursday through Saturday visit, and I just, as soon as I stepped on the campus, I really felt welcome and at home. And sitting down with Coach Zaweski and getting to hear his philosophy as a coach and how he approaches and training and all that, I was like, okay, this is someone I can really see myself succeeding with, as well as helping this program succeed and get to the national level. Because Virginia Tech, we're really dominant at a conference level, but right now we're struggling to make that national hump. And this year we made a lot of progress. But I'm telling you right now, man, we've got a special group of jumpers at Virginia Tech. And it really came down to the teammates of the team and what Coach Z is building and what he has built so far at Virginia Tech. It's really incredible. I think we're set up for a big outdoor year this year.
I'm excited. Where, you redshirt, medical redshirt for indoor.
Yeah.
Where are you opening up for outdoor?
Yeah, so I'll actually open up the weekend of the 22nd, 23rd of March, and we'll be traveling to South Carolina. And so I'll open up and the triple jump at South Carolina there this year.
Okay. And what are you studying there?
I am actually majoring in advertising with a minor in professional sales and digital marketing. Yeah. So
where does that come from?
Well, my mom is in the marketing and tourism industry, so I've really been around it my entire life, and seen the good, the bad, the ugly about the career field. But also, junior year of high school, I was able to take some digital design classes, and I started working with some graphic design programs, and some videography, photography, stuff like that. And my teacher actually pulled me out of class one day and was like, "Hey, like, you really have some potential in this. Like, you might want to consider this for your career." And that's the first time I thought about it.
Yeah.
And so I just started thinking about it. I was like, okay, did some research on it. And my senior year, I was able to, I was able to design my own magazine and do magazine layouts, as well as create graphics and videos for my high school and some of the sports teams, stuff like that. And so I really just fell in love with the whole marketing aspect of everything. And for me, it's a career field that's always going to be around.
Yep.
I mean, everyone's always going to need something to be promoted, marketed, especially now in the digital age. It's such a big impact on business success, and even like just promoting like small things in your high school, your sports or local level. And so for me, it was finding something that really interests me, but also finding something that is going to be around for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Take that, apply that to track. How can track highlight field events more? We talked about it earlier. If there's very little love for track in general, there's no love for field.
Yeah. So for me, I would say let's start doing what I'm aware of for the first time last year at the Outdoor National Meet, which is where they had separate live streams for each event. So, have the cameras set up at the jumping events, the pole vault pit, the throwing areas. That way you can watch these multiple events, because a lot of it's just getting exposure.
Yeah.
Because, once people see it, they're interested in it, especially the field events, which in my opinion, they're fun to watch.
Right.
And so I think that there should be some better coverage, television-wise, media-wise, of just the field events, and just getting the video and getting the exposure out there, I feel like could really bring in the viewership that track and field needs.
Right. And that's part of why we're doing this, right? Because everybody's got a story. Gabe from ARAB has a story that beyond his marks. Okay, so I mentioned at the very beginning, I saw you at a junior high gold circuit meet in Huntsville, Alabama on a Thursday night on your spring break.
Yeah.
Why were you there? Like, what brings you back to help at ARAB junior high meet?
Yeah, so for me, it's just the impact of the program and what it had on me. So the older guys I always looked up to in our program, and some of them have come back and helped out throughout the years. But for me to be able to have the success that I did on the track, and it's really just because of the program and the coaches and the practices, the workouts, everything that they installed over the past 6 years that I bought into, kind of got me where I am today. And for me, it was, I want to give back to this school and this program in any way that I can. And so anytime that I'm back in town, I have been at the track, not only just staying in shape and continuing to train with my training plan, but helping out wherever I can. And spring break, that happened to be hosting a meet that got moved to the Milton Frank that wasn't supposed to be there, but they were in desperate need of officials, and having the experience of the jumps that I had, I instantly volunteered. I was like, I'll do it. And so I was out there, helping out and coaching in the jumps, as well as just helping officiate the meet, because anything I can do to help that program, continue to build and be successful, but just give back, because that program gave me so much, and I wouldn't be where I am today without them. And that coaching staff and my teammates. And just getting to come home and see my teammates, having such a close relationship with them, as well as still being a role model for those younger athletes, because it's important, I feel like, at a younger age to get across to those kids that, like, if you really buy into this and buy into the workouts and the system, like, it can get you somewhere. I never thought as a 7th grader I would end up as a Division I track athlete.
Right.
I bought in, and it kind of paid off. And it's one thing to hear a coach say, "Oh, you need to do this because he can get you somewhere." When you see a first-hand example of a former athlete who's had success come back and work with you on stuff like that, I don't know. It's just something that, like, means a lot to me. This town and this program and what they've built, and I felt like I was a pretty big piece in building of what we got here now at ARAB and the success we've had on the track over the past few years. And I really want to keep that success going. And so any way I can give back to the program, I'm willing to help.
I think that's how we continue to grow the sport. Is people caring and you giving back to it. What would you tell your younger self if you do it all over again? 7th grade Gabe.
7th grade Gabe, there's going to be 2 things. One is going to be, like I said, just buy in sooner. I really do wish that I would have bought in to the training and taking track a little bit more serious earlier.
Would you have quit football earlier?
I don't know if I'd quit football earlier as much as I would have just taken practices more serious.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I wasn't giving all my all in those sprint workouts.
Sure.
As a 7th and 8th grader, I mean, I'm not sure there's most people that are. I mean,
Sure.
most junior high kids are out there just trying to have fun.
Yeah.
So that's what it was for me. And the second thing would be cherish it, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you never know when you're going to take your last jump or run your last race for your high school team, and the injury was eye-opening to me because I wasn't ready to give up running for A-Rap at that time, and you know, you really can't get those moments back. So you need to enjoy them while you're in the moment and just take advantage of every opportunity you get on and off the track with your teammates, your coaching staff, and just cherish it and make the most of it.
Yeah, and that's all life. I'm pretty passionate about that. Cherish every moment you can.
Yeah.
Let's compare Coach Martin and Coach Z. It's Coach Z, right?
Yeah.
One thing from Coach Martin that you've really taken, and one thing from Coach Z that you've already taken your first year.
Yeah, so I'm going to break Coach Martin into him and Coach Wade. Wade was my jumps coach at A-Rep. He worked with our jumpers and sprinters, and then Martin kind of oversaw everything as our head coach. And so they always had, you know, the philosophy of, you know, give everything you've got to this team. You know, we're going to put you in events that maybe you don't think you should be in, but it's for the team success. They were very team-oriented, and they gave me the opportunity to be the leader that I felt like I became on the track and hold my teammates accountable. And also just holding the coaching staff accountable. I mean, if there was something that, you know, there was a workout they would, you know, change or something, we would always be, you know, as a senior, I was always stepping up and speaking up. I was like, okay, why are we doing this? This doesn't need to be like that. I feel like we're not succeeding doing that. So they kind of were almost made me into a player coach. And so I really enjoyed my senior year being able to help with that. But also, you know, on the track, they were kind of just letting me kind of do my own thing my senior year. They were like, yeah, we're going to be here to oversee you, but you're to the point now where, you know, we want your help with the other athletes. Right? We're going to continue to coach you and help you get better, but we want you to kind of help out and be that leader. And then Coach Z has really helped me so far. I'm a huge overthinker in the jumps. Like, I overthink everything, every mistake. Like practices, I'll you know, Tech, we video everything. Everything's on video, so we can go back and look at it. And he's actually stopped videoing my practices because I will constantly go and watch and try to find things that I'm doing wrong and try to fix them. Yeah. But he's also kind of helped me where, like, I'll come out of the pit. I mean, like, the first thing I'll say is, I did this wrong. And so he's kind of helped me get the mindset of it's okay to make mistakes in the jumps, and it's okay to make mistakes on the track. I mean, like, he said, his words to me were, let me worry about that. Let's focus on what you did right, and I'll focus on what you did wrong. Right. And so he's kind of just changed my mindset, and I've really changed the way I approach the sport and kind of just relaxing a little bit out there. Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm a freshman. I mean, I'm not going to be, you know, winning NCAAs right now. I mean, that time's going to have to happen, and that's going to have to come in the long run. So right now, he's just kind of helped me with really just buying into the system and the process in college. Right. Yeah. It's building blocks. We talked about Ethan Strand earlier. Like, 4th place yesterday in the mile, but he wasn't 4th place as a freshman. No, he was 4th place as a junior. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So, it's building blocks for sure. What are you going to miss most about wearing that A-Rep jersey? Just the bond. You touched on it for sure. Yeah, just the bond of the teammates. You know, I was able to put on that jersey and know that not only was I representing my high school, but I was getting to go to war and run these races with my brothers and my teammates and friends that I've been around for so long. But another thing that, like I talked about earlier, you know, looking up to J.M. Watt and L.J. Hill, the two Hoover guys, and being able to message them on Instagram and get the response back of them giving advice and stuff like that. As a younger athlete, looking up to them, it's like my senior year, I really started to see that come full circle. I mean, I was having athletes around the state kind of starting to ask me for pointers and tips and stuff like that. So it was kind of full circle moment for me, as well as, like, I remember just showing up to random meets and there'd be people I never even talked to in my life, you know, adults, athletes, kids, being like, "You're Gabe," and like shaking my hand and like talking to me. And that was me the other day. Yeah, and like I like, it's just full circle moment for me. It's like in high school, it's different in college. It's more close knit. I think that people know you more in high school. They get to know you more in high school because you know, at the end of the day, high school is kind of just about having fun. And I mean, nothing against college. College is more of, you know, going out there. It's a business, right? So you're going out there. You're gonna win. You're gonna win. You're gonna win. That's all college you need to worry about. I mean, that's great. That's what athletics is about. Is, you know, just having a success. But in high school, it was really for me just, you know, the bond of my teammates and the impact that you can have on those younger athletes as a high school athlete. True. Yeah. If you could have a dream triple jump runway, 3 to 5 athletes, who's gonna be? All right, so does that include me or not include me?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so not including me, we're gonna go with 5. First is gonna be Christian Taylor.
Okay. Yeah.
The Olympic champion, great jumper for the United States. Number 2 is obviously Jonathan Edwards, the world record holder.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan's just incredible to watch jump. What he could do at his size, and what he was able to do on the runway. Number 3 is gonna be Nelson Avora. Nelson was an Olympic triple jumper for many years, very competitive. There's a ton of Olympic and world medals, and Nelson really competed until late 30s. Like he was out there competing and throwing down until he physically couldn't anymore.
Right.
And then the last 2 are going to be 2 guys that are in college. First is going to be Jay from Hoover.
Yeah.
Me and Jay got really close last year, and every opportunity we got to jump with each other, jump against each other, it was just so memorable.
Yeah.
I mean, the relationship we had, it was like we were going to push each other in the environment. We were always messing around, poking fun at each other, but also encouraging each other. The support that me and Jay have for each other is really special. And the last guy is going to be Xavier Wolf. Xavier's at Georgia right now.
Right.
He graduated from Memphis Central High School in Tennessee last year. And me and Xavier met in club track between my junior and senior year. And we had some really good competitions against each other. And he's had tremendous success his freshman year. He just made the national meet, and I think he finished 10th yesterday at the NCAA meet.
Yeah.
But Zay's like Jay. He's one of those guys that I was able on the runway to just compete with and have a good time with and really enjoy the moment on the runway with.
So, I should have touched on this earlier, but this is a good segue. What's the camaraderie like on a triple jump runway? Or any field event?
It really depends. I mean, there's competitions like in high school where especially sectionals and state where I'm not your friend.
Right.
Especially in state and sectionals, I'm out there to win. We can be friends before and after competition, but during competition, I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
And so it really depends. But I mean, you look at a national meet like New Balance Nationals indoor. Everyone was helping each other out, supporting each other. No one was kind of not supporting or being rude to anybody. It just depends. I would say. You have those meets where it's very tense and competitive, and things can get chirpy, and people can talk and like that. Especially, you don't really think of track being a big trash talking, but you get down there.
We need something.
You get down there around the runways and everything in the field events. There's some stuff being talked, and there's some egos and confidence that slap people around down there.
Right.
I'm here to win, and what are you gonna do about it? You're not beating me. But I mean, there's also the meets like New Balance where you can just cherish it. Everyone's just out there having a good time. So it really just depends. I would say on the meet.
Yeah. Are you chirping back at anybody?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll admit it. I have a huge ego on the track.
Sure.
I mean,
it's a confidence thing.
Yeah, and I think it really kind of hit me in between junior and senior year and senior indoor. I was I would just show up to the meet confident. I had no reason to doubt anything. I was I knew going into every meet my senior year that I was pretty much going to be the best out there, and I was just going to go out there and put on a show, which is not a great attitude to have, but I mean, unfortunately,
it's not the worst attitude.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I was, but I mean, 100%. There was definitely some conversations I had out there on the runway with some people where I was like, yeah, watch this. You're not doing anything like this. And it was it can come off as kind of a mean move or, a cocky move, but also sometimes I would do it to push people. And make them want to work harder. Because I mean, it's not fun when you go out there and you just win the competition by 5 feet. Everyone wants to have that good competition. Best memories on the runway come when I was being pushed. And I feel I perform the best when I'm being pushed by other athletes. So I feel like it can be good in the fact that you can push each other, and it can really kind of make the environment more enjoyable down there, but it can also there's definitely a fine line between rude and fun. And so I've definitely crossed that line a couple of times down there, and some talking that said some things I probably shouldn't have said down there to some other athletes, but it happens.
I got a technical foul in basketball in high school, and I do it over again. You know what I mean? World Athletics comes out a few weeks ago and proposes a change to the board. They'll measure wherever you take off from. Thoughts on that?
So I agree in the fact that something needs to happen with the boards. I think something needs to change. We're seeing all these toe roll fouls where athletes are taking off behind the board, but as they lift their foot to take off, their toe is kind of rolling off, and that's not having any effect on their approach or their jump, and they're calling it fouls. But I think the whole takeoff zone thing is just absolutely absurd, because I mean, it takes away one of the biggest aspects of the jumps is the approach and being locked in and tuned and having a great approach and the precision of being on that board as close as you can to the foul board. And now it just takes it away. Because, I mean, now all we're looking at is just who's the fastest on the runway. And people can just be reckless now coming down the runway, and speed's going to kill. I mean, speed's important in the jumps, but you got to be technical and you got to be precise. But I mean, we had this conversation the other day up at Virginia Tech about, we're going to see some world records get broken really fast now on the jumps if this goes through, because it's going to take away that precision and that technical aspect of the jumps, which I think is just bad for the sport. I mean, we talked earlier what it comes down to, and it's not good for the sport, is non-track people making track decisions. I mean, we saw a couple of years ago with Tentaglu, the Greek jumper, long jumper, he was disqualified for wearing a spike in the long jump, and someone that made the decision to not count his world league jump and to disqualify him was the person that had never done track in their life.
Right,
I mean, you're having these people make decisions about the sport that have never done the sport in their lives.
Right.
And I mean, like, the sport's changed. Track is not what it was 50 years ago.
Right.
And so we need to continue to evolve. But I mean, like, a decision like this is something that definitely is going to have to be tested in trial, which I think they're looking at doing. Obviously, is trialing it and testing it in some meets. But, like, I mean, if you're asking me, I'm not a big fan of it, because for me, I'm a guy that is very technical in my jumps, and I'm very, proud of my approach and the progress I've made to be consistently on the board, and now it just takes that away. It's like you worked for so long to get a perfect approach down, and for what? Exactly. Now they're just taking it away where you can just fly through there and take off from wherever.
I also don't know how it's going to be affordable. I imagine, I don't see Arab High School or Milton Frank having boards that can measure. We barely have lasers at certain meets.
Yeah.
We're still pulling tape at a lot of meets. So then you're throwing something like that.
I mean, it's sure national level, world level, you can do it, but when you get down to the local level, like, it's just not practical.
But if it's at the world and the national level, and you do it at the local level, if you make the national meet, suddenly everything's changed when you get to the national.
Sure. Yeah,
it doesn't.
It's not very practical right now. I think that I don't know if it'll stay long. I think they'll try it. We'll see.
It was an announcement. It could be gone tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with it. But I mean, my opinion of it is I'm not very supportive of that decision.
Right. Yeah. What do you do outside of track?
I didn't really know there was a life outside of track, to be honest with you. I mean, track's a really big aspect of your life, especially in college. It takes up most of your time.
Yeah.
For me, it's really just hanging out with friends around the dorm, around campus. I like to play video games every once in a while, but since I've gotten to college, I've kind of slowed down on that. Not really had the time.
Right.
So I would say when I'm not on the track and I'm not working on school stuff, it's really just spending time with friends and enjoying the moments and the life that college is and what it brings. But I mean, just listening to music, watching Netflix, some movies, something like that. I mean, really just anything to kind of kill the time.
What's the last thing you watched on Netflix?
I'm rewatching Suits right now.
I am too.
Yeah. So Suits, and then I've been watching some World War II documentaries as well.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of switch up. I'm all over the place with what I watch and my music taste as well. So I'm just kind of all over the place. Okay. I mean, I was watching some documentary on World War II this morning. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Any big cheat meals that maybe you and your friends take down in college?
So, not so much college. I mean, you get to a Division I level, they're very strict on your nutrition. It's very important, and the sooner you realize nutrition is important in your life, the better it's going to be for you in the long run.
Right.
So not necessarily in college meal wise, but I don't know if you've ever had these milk chocolate Hershey's dipped pretzels.
Okay, yeah, I have. Yep.
That has become something that is so bad for me. I mean, I could put down probably 2 bags of those a day.
Oh my gosh.
Up there, and I mean, I could just walk up to DX up on campus and grab 5 bags.
Yeah,
I mean, I definitely partake in a lot of those, during the fall semester. But now that I'm kind of in season, I've weaned myself off. I'm trying to do like 1 bag every other week, if that. But back home it was always Jim and Nick's. Get some barbecue, right? Being from the South and going and getting that loaded mac and cheese, and it feels like 10 to 12 of those cheddar biscuits, man. That was probably the biggest cheat meal where I would load up on everything. I really didn't care. But yeah, besides that, I mean, I try to stay eating pretty well and take my nutrition pretty serious, especially since I've gotten to the collegiate level.
Okay. And we could talk for hours. This has been so much fun. But last question. Who next on the track record?
Okay.
One teammate, an Arab teammate, and then somebody from Alabama High School scene.
Okay. From Arab, gosh, I don't know if I can give one answer.
You can give a couple.
Okay, so I'll see if I can give 2 for both. For Arab, I would say Bryant Bowie from Arab, and then Wyatt Gillespie from Arab.
Okay.
And then from the statewide level, I would really like to see Charlie Crowder from Hoover on here. But a guy I think that really needs to be on here soon is Sam Johnson from Bob Jones. Jordan had mentioned him. Sam is doing incredible things for an athlete his age. You know, to be nationally ranked and a national champion as a freshman, and Bob Jones in the jumps. And Sam and I have worked a lot on, you know, trying to get him to a better, more national level. And Sam is very special to me, and you know, he's very big in my life. We talk daily about, you know, track and getting his life. He's had a lot of success, and you know, continues to have success. I think he's going to be someone that could, you know, make it really big in the sport. So I think it'd be really interesting to hear his story from a younger perspective.
For sure, yeah. All of those are good. Why it sticks out to me because Patrick Adcock, if you happen to watch all of this, I hope you do. We gotta get some throwers on here.
Yeah,
we need some throwers.
Yeah.
Throwers need some love.
Yeah.
Trying the field events, but we gotta get some throwers on here.
Yeah.
So, dang, Gabe, it's been fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
If you made it to the end of this, I hope you did. It was awesome.
Yeah.
If you have something, comment. The point of this, as always, is to tell the stories of more than just Gabe's triple jump marks. There's more to Gabe than that. So, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.